Hey, it's Mike. Let's talk about Reaper. In our last episode, Adam from Hi YouTube I'm Dad tracked bass for us. If you've not seen that video, click the link above. Also, check out Adam's channel for more tips and tricks for efficient use of Reaper. In today's episode, I'd like to import Adam's bass performance into the project. I thought this might also be a good time to check out Audio Assault's latest bass amp sim plugin, Duality EX. Let's take a look. I've got the project for my cover of Sure by Emarosa open, and I've removed the bass guide track that I previously had. I assume that most of you already know how to extract a zip file in your operating system, so I won't bore you with those details. I've already extracted the files and I've placed them inside the project audio directory. Hopefully if you followed along this far, you've got Reaper set up to where all of your projects are self-contained, and inside of each of the project subfolders, there's another subfolder containing your project audio. Whether you're using Windows, Mac, or Linux, you can drag and drop files into Reaper from the File Explorer, but Reaper has its own Media Explorer built in. We can get to that by clicking on View and Media Explorer, or with the key press Ctrl-Alt-X. This key press may be different if you've customized your system, but this is the default key press. I'll click the link, and I've got mine set to open in the dock next to the mixer. If we take a look along the left-hand side of the Media Explorer, we see a few locations here that are hard linked to specific locations in the file system. Down near the bottom, we see a couple of relative locations such as track templates and project directory. What I'm interested in is project directory. I'll click project directory, which it seems to already be there. And as you can see, the Media Explorer is showing all of the different audio that exists inside of this project so far. To make my search a little bit easier, I'll move over to the right-hand side and I'll type the word bass into the filter. We can see here I've got the bass guide track. That's mine. I don't want that one. And we have two stems that Adam sent. One that he ran through a Waves amp sim, and then we have the bass DI. The bass DI is the one that I'd like, so I'll left-click and drag it up into the Arrange view. I'm assuming he started at the beginning of the project, so I'll drop it there and see if we line up, and I can see that the bass is lining in right there at the intro. I'm done with the Media Explorer for now, so I can either close that or just click on my mixer. I know that I'm not going to need it anymore for this tutorial, so I'll go ahead and close it. Let's take a quick listen to the DI and see what we've got to work with. I'll solo the track, start here at intro 2, and take a listen. It sounds like a bass. Let's take that out of solo and take a listen to it in context. Still not sounding bad, but it could use a little bit of processing. That's where the Audio Assault's new Duality EX plugin comes in. I'll click one of my effects inserts and do a search for Duality and load up the plugin. If you're not familiar with Duality, it's a bass processing plugin that combines a distortion and overdrive pedal, a noise gate, the amp sim, a few different cabinets that are 3D modeled cabinets. There's that dog again. Hi, Bill. I'm recording right now. Thank you. Where were we? With the 3D cabinets, you can move your microphones left and right, and you can also move them forward and backwards. Or you can load your own external impulse responses. And finally, we have an effects rack, where we've got a graphic equalizer, chorus, compression, and limiter. I tend to like to have a little bit of distortion on my bass. I typically will split my bass into two different tracks so I can process high and lower frequencies separately. But with Duality, the parallel drive pedal has a DI only option that allows me to basically run the overdrive in parallel. Let's solo the bass track and play a little bit with the sounds and see what we can get. I'm going to double click my marker for intro 2 to grab that selection of time, and I'll put that section on repeat while we tweak these effects. We'll engage the parallel drive. On the left-hand side of the drive knob, we've got a high pass and a low pass, and this affects how much of the signal is going into the parallel drive. And since I want to mainly affect the higher signal, I'll do a little bit of a high pass here and roll off some of the lower end. The high pass and low pass that's after the effect allows you to high pass or low pass the outcome after it goes through the drive. For the sake of clarity, the difference between the DI and the full chain, if I switch the input to full chain, the parallel drive pedal then acts as if it's a pedal that sits in front of the amp instead of being run in parallel. The pedal's engaged, so let's hit play and see what kind of sound we got. Okay, hold on just a second. It's me from the future. After making this video, I started to look through the plugin a bit more and discovered what may either be a bug or may just be my misunderstanding of how the plugin works, but let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got the same time selection frozen here, and I will solo the bass and repeat the section. Now let's pay attention to the drive and the mix knobs and take a listen. Now that's with the drive in its default setting. If I start to increase the mix knob, watch what happens. It gets really loud really fast, and it seems like the proportions on the mix knob are not quite right. Now let's take another look at this and crank the drive all the way up and see what happens. It seems like the further I push the drive knob, the lower the volume gets and the better this actually sounds. Again, I'm not sure if this is just a misunderstanding on my part or if there's something wrong with the relationship between the drive and the mix knobs. This is also affected heavily by the filters on both the left and the right side of the drive knob, so if I turn up my high-pass filter a bit further on both sides, it starts to sound even better. And I can push the mix knob even further. I just wanted to be sure to share this in case my use of the plugin in the main video gave a wrong impression of the plugin. Now let's get back to the video. We'll roll off a little bit more of that low end. And take a look at the amp module itself. I'm going to try to clean a little bit of that mud out with the equalizers. Add some high and low compression. Brighten this up a touch. And let's take a look at our cabs. I like the sound of this cab so far. Now I do want to note that this is not a full-on tutorial of how to use this plugin. I actually just wanted to take this opportunity to check it out and get a little bit of a first impression. We'll go ahead and bring the music in and get this in context. That's sounding pretty good there. Adding this compressor at the end really helped to even out the signal a bit more. And you'll notice up top we've also got input and output knobs that will control the DI signal going into the entire plugin chain, and then we can compensate by reducing or increasing the output signal. Let's do a before and after comparison with it in solo. So we're peaking around -6 with the plugin disengaged. We'll go ahead and turn it on and see if we can level match here. Now we're actually coming in a little bit below -6, but the perceivable volume seems to be increased a bit. I think I'd like to turn that down just a touch and try a little bit more. It's interesting, that sounds a whole lot different in context as opposed to in solo. With the bass soloed, it sounds almost like this parallel drive is a bit too much. Let's take a listen to that again. Once I blend that in with the music, it sounds a whole lot better. And that's sounding pretty good. Now I realize that this was not exactly a tutorial, really I was just wanting to take a look at Adam's tracks and hear it in context, and as I said, check out this new plugin by Audio Assault. I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to pick up a copy of Duality EX for yourself. I suppose at this point I'm just delaying the inevitable because my next step would probably be to record the vocals. And I am a little bit shy about singing on camera, but you only live once, right? Leave a comment below and let me know what you'd like to see next. I could stand to go through and re-record the guitars because the guitars on here are still scratch tracks. I can do a bit of mixing and get this polished up a bit before adding vocals. Or we can just go straight for the vocals. This wouldn't be the first time I've made a fool of myself in public. I hope this helps. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And you can support the channel further by clicking the Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon link below, as well as the new Super Thanks button from YouTube. Be sure to check out my drum editing and Reaper course on Pro Mix Academy. We'll see you next time. All about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, no treble. What's this do?